Welcome to another session talks. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? It's the last week of the month. I want to say happy last week of the social work history month. It's also the last week of Women's History Month. So I want to also just take this time to give my flowers and give your flowers to you guys. I need everyone to know, all the queens on this live, whether you're watching this now or later, you are enough. You are fragile. You are delicate. And those two, all of those are compliments. Being a strong woman is not always the ideal compliment. And I want to let all the women here know that we are enough. We are worth it. We are worthy. And so I just want to just take this moment to allow all, your flowers for sure. Because listen, as women, before our guest comes, I just want to say, as women, we are always told that we have to be strong. I mean, we don't even have to go down like the strong black woman thought process at all. But to be able to be a black woman and still show up past adversities and past all of the troubles that we always or often go through, I want to let all the women know, again, we are fragile, we are enough, we are worthy, and for that, I'm grateful. So, I just wanted to give you guys all that little piece before I allow the guest in. So we'll just try to give that a go now. Hopefully that works. It work. Hey, it did work.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Nice to see you virtually.
Likewise.
So we're gonna get started. I wanna, hear all about you and go through the bullet points. I do have some extra questions that may not be on the bullet points, but they're still aligned.
Mm-hmm.
So for all that are new here, welcome family. This is In.sessionmft. In being an acronym for the word intentional. So intentional sessions where we use this platform to talk about all things relationships. So relationships that you have with yourself and others. We also use this platform to encourage conversations that we tend to silence. Being aware that just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean it's not happening. So I am joined here by, the amazing mother, the author, the community activist, Tiffani Evans, the author of I Still Believe, Tiffani Evans. So all those here, I want to just give a virtual clap for Tiffani for being on this.
Appreciate it.
We're going to give a virtual clap. Before we even start, I need everybody to even drop a flower, or I'll even drop a flower, just because I need y'all to know, outside of it being Women's History Month, we have the pleasure to just sit with an amazing woman who I can't wait to speak to, because I'm just like, how? The question now at this point is just how? You'll see why I'm saying that. But just give everybody the chance to introduce yourself, let everybody know who doesn't know who you are, and basically what you do.
All right. So I'm just want to first say thank you for letting me be on your platform.
Of course.
Blessings to you, and just seeing me, and wanting me to be on your show today. I'm Tiffani Evans, better known as Peyton John Evans, the great mother. August 24th, 2021, I lost my 8-year-old son to a stray bullet in Landover, Maryland. Worst day of my life. And I'm just here to just help people understand life after grief. And that's really what my book is, just helping people understand what just believing in yourself after the pain, and actually just showing what perseverance look like. And turning my pain into purpose, just being the face of the community right now. Also being a new author. I released my book, I Still Believe, February 14th, which is also my son's birthday. He would have been 11 years old. So I'm just blessed to be here.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to get into all of that. So I'm glad you just mentioned all of my talking points because now that makes my transitions a lot
For sure.
easier. Um, but I just kind of want to talk. So I've gotten a chance to look at all of your amazing work. And I want to say, first off, it's truly inspiring.
Appreciate
One of the things, of course, one of the things I don't see that's highlighted is who you are.
it.
And so I want to kind of dive a little bit into who you are and give everybody kind of like a
Okay.
timeline. So we'll start right on like what was life like before you before having your child.
Life for me was I was born and raised in Prince George's County area. Grew up in Sea Pleasant. I went to Siouxland High School, which is in Prince George's County as well. I graduated 2005. Preceding that, I went to the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. I graduated with a degree in human ecology, concentration in child development.
Okay.
I graduated there in 2010. I started working on my master's, but I gave that dream up once, life started lifing and I started a family.
Yeah.
In 2012, I met my ex-wife. Me and my ex-wife decided to have a child. And so we proceeded to have PJ. PJ was born in 2013. He was my first child that I had, that I carried. And we also had a 7-year-old at the time. That was my stepson, which is, I don't use that word. That's my child. So shout out to my oldest son, 21. But besides that, life before PJ, working in the federal government. I started in high school. Once I graduated college, I proceeded to get a full-time job in the government, and I've been working ever since. Yeah, and that's pretty much life before PJ. I was just a grinder, a hustler. I was a family person. And yeah, life started in 2013, really, when I had my son, and I got married the same year. PJ was about 6 months when I got married. In 2016, I got a divorce. So I'm a divorcee. And after that, just me and PJ.
You better tell it all. Okay.
And I'm a strong
okay,
Black lesbian woman.
Listen,
Yes.
all right, listen, because we're going to get into it. So I want to know just on, so you were the one who carried your child. So I want to know what that was like. Because being in the LGBTQ community and being masculine presenting, that's something that is like everyone forgets you have a uterus and you could like actually, I mean, the surprises that that's a whole nother conversation. No. But so what was that like being the one to carry and just like navigating through life with being a masculine presenting woman?
So for me, I would start by saying it was definitely I don't care mindset. I've always wanted a child, and my ex-wife tried before me and it didn't take. So when I tried, it took the first take. And for me, I didn't care what the world thought because I was creating my own family, and that's all I really cared about, what me and my ex-wife desired at that moment. And to be honest, that was in 2012 when I did that. I feel like since then, I know a lot of lesbian women that are masculine presented that have kids that are older than me. But I feel like in my generation, I felt like I broke the code or something, like, because after that is like everybody started having children. And so I feel like a leader in that aspect, to allow people to understand that it's okay to understand that you're still a woman. Yeah. I'm not here to be a man. I'm not trying to be a man. I just had to tell somebody that the other day, I'm not trying to be a man. Like, I understand who I am, and I understand that I love women, right? But I'm not trying to be a man. I just love wearing men clothes. I'm still soft as cotton. But don't get it messed up. I'm still her too. Right. But outside of that, though, for me, it's just more so I just feel like I broke down a barrier for my community, for the people in my generation, to allow them to understand that there's nothing wrong with a masculine presenting woman to have a child and to carry, You're still a woman. Embrace it. I encourage every woman. I don't care what you look like or who you present yourself to be. It's the best experience I've ever encountered in my life. And I would do it again. And, it's in the process too. So uh, I embrace it. You know what I'm saying? It was the best experience ever. I breastfed. I did it all, So for me, it was an amazing experience.
Okay, love that. Okay, trendsetter. Love that. Okay, so as like I said, we're gonna do a timeline. So what was life as being a mom? Like how would you describe your life?
Oh man, being a mom, I mean, any mother that has a child understands it if you really embrace motherhood, right? For me, anybody that knows me know that PJ was my night, my man, he was everything for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna sit here and fake. He was my morning, noon, and night, right? Um, I breathed and held this boy, and even after my divorce, it was PJ was all I had. You know what I'm saying? Besides my oldest son, but on a day-to-day basis, PJ went with me in the divorce. So I had to do it all. I had to learn it all, and I'm not gonna sit here and fake like my ex-wife didn't carry a heavy load. But it really taught me, my son was 3 years old when I went through my divorce. So it really taught me how to like relearn who I am, right? Because I really depended on my ex-wife for a lot, for the nurturing side. I just knew how to provide. So in 2016, my son was 3 years old, and I had to relearn how to be a full-time mother, like, because I was so dependent on my partner at that time.
Yeah.
And I had to learn it all. Like, I ain't know what size clothes this boy wore or nothing. I had to relearn everything. Like, hold up, I gotta buy him some new drawers. They too tight. He got wedgie. Like, So once I started getting more comfortable into that situation of just being a nurturer, right, and really understanding that my son needed me not to just be a provider, he needed me to be somebody that like embraced his emotions, right, and his needs and meet all of his needs. That was a hard task not only for myself, but it was for him as well. And him adjusting to the simple fact that Mommy Evie is not going to be with us 24/7 no more. Your brother Buddha is not going to be with us 24/7. So to be honest, it was not only a learning journey for him, it was a learning journey for me. So we had to really teach and lean on each other for a lot. And to be honest, 2013 was a hard year for us. I had to learn how to really, really do everything from beginning to end without any support. So I can honestly say like that was a hard journey. And I think probably February of that year before he turned 4 years old is when I kind of got him into sports. I was like, look, man, we got too much free time. We need to get active. Man, look, we going to figure this out. I said, you want to play football? He said, I'm going to try it. So he played flag football. He was still 3 years old. And lo and behold, he loved it.
Wow.
He enjoyed it. And that's when the journey started for him, and he was turning 4 that year. And I can honestly say like PJ was like that. And my son was always kind of a bigger kid. He was in a high percentile, his age bracket. So he was a big boy at an early age. So he was always taller than most kids his age. He was always a little thicker than most kids his age. So, man, that's when the journey started in 2017, the beginning of 2017. That's when the journey started. And it took off from there.
So why football? What was like the leading? Was it his the way he was built, or you just
so I played basketball coming up, right?
Okay.
I played basketball coming up, and I don't know. I just was like, I wanted to try something because he was so aggressive, and he was always playing rough with my brother and my nephews, right? So I'm like, let me just try football and see what's up. Because he just had the technique of he loved football. He always carried a football in his hand. I had professional pictures of my son carrying a football at like, I think it was his 2-year-old shoot that he did. So it's like he already kind of like embraced it. I tried him with basketball in the beginning in a little toddler class. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this really for him. You know what I'm saying? You kind of know your child, right?
Yeah.
So I tried that. And to be honest, man, that was his breath of fresh air. He loved football. He just loved being aggressive, and he just loved playing hard. So he kind of stuck with football. He did play basketball a little as he got a little older, but football really was his gym.
Okay. So how would you describe PJ as a person?
Oh man, PJ as a person, I'm gonna first say PJ understood Christ. And I say that not because I just want to say it. I say it because my son really was like in tune with God at an early age. My mother started him off at church, singing in the choir, doing kid plays at the church, right? And vacation Bible school, Bible study with my mom. He did a lot of stuff in church with my mother at an early age. And PJ was never shy. And at the age of 4, I put PJ in a private school, which was Christian based. And so that's what really kind of put the icing on top of his faith, and he understood who God really was. I had videos of him reciting scriptures. He had to learn, you know what I'm saying? So my son understood that. I got a video of him praying, right, at school in front of a big audience. He was always in tune with God. He just understood it. And I must say he was in tune with God. And outside of being in tune with God, PJ also was a loving person. And sometimes he loves so hard that I'm like, bro, you gotta ease up a little bit. Like, you showing too much love. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because people take that for weakness, right?
Yeah.
And so I was in a process before he died, just teaching him that, just understanding what loyalty meant, and understanding with, who to love hard and who not to. Some people are just meant to be associates, and some people just meant to be teammates. Everybody not meant to be your friend, right?
Listen.
So,
Lesson.
just teaching them those little things. So I can honestly say my son was God-fearing. My son was loving. He loved his family. He loved being around his cousins. He loved being around his grandmother. He loved being around his family. He loved being around his brother. Um, I don't know. It's so much to say about Peyton because he was an amazing kid. But one thing I can say on an educational base, my son was smart as hell. My son struggled with reading at an early age, and once I understood his struggles of reading, he became an amazing reader before he passed. He was above reading, right? And he also was titled the math whiz of his age group at his school. He had the highest test scores in math throughout his whole age at Thomas G. Pullen, which is Orlando, Maryland. So I can honestly say it wasn't just always about sports for me. School was first, and my son knew that. Like, if you don't have a good grades, if your behavior is not where you need to be at, you could count sports out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the things that was important to me, he made sure he met those criterias. And so I can honestly say my son enjoyed school, he enjoyed people, he loved people. He was just an amazing kid. I really can't sit here and say any bad times that I had with my son, or maybe a time or two when I had to whoop his butt. You know what I'm saying? I really can't really point too many times out on my hand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he was just an amazing kid. He was very, I'm going to say he was a gentle giant. I'm going to say that. He really was, though. He loved cuddling. He loved giving love. He loved being affectionate. He just was a good baby.
Yeah. So how do you feel like his life impacted you?
um, so before PJ passed, he was battling with self-esteem issues. Before my son passed, he was about 150 pounds. He was 8 years old. And so throughout the whole year of 2020 and 2021, my son was battling with self-esteem issues. He was switching football teams. And I had to come up with a way on how to encourage him to be able to encourage himself, right? And so that's kind of like where my book title come from, I Still Believe, because we said affirmation. One day I was just like, look, man, these kids that you playing with, they know better than you, bruh. Y'all equals, right? It's not wrong with somebody getting more tackles than you. It's nothing wrong with somebody running faster than you because you're a big boy, right? There's nothing wrong with somebody maybe like doing a drill better than you. But you still just gotta believe in yourself. You gotta understand that nothing in this world is untouchable, right? You can touch whatever stars you want to touch in this world, but at the end of the day, it starts with you. You gotta believe in yourself. So we say the affirmation every day. I believe in myself. I believe in myself. Without God, I'm nothing, but with God, I'm everything. And again, I go back to that Christian base. Like, my son understood the meaning of God. My son understood what the power of God was, right, at an early age. So me allowing him to say that affirmation every day before he went to school, before football practice, before games. Even when he was rushing, he'd be like, "Mom, late for practice. I don't care. I want you to understand today gonna be a good practice, and you're gonna do good, and you're gonna believe in yourself even when you get tired and weary, right? Yeah. Or you might not understand something, or you feel like you can't conquer something. You still gotta believe in yourself." Yeah. So I always made him say that affirmation, and yeah, that's what I still believe kind of came from, because I can't instill something into my son, right, to believe in him and believe in himself, right, and I not do it. So I titled my book "I Still Believe," because I want people to understand that even in the pain of me losing my baby to gun violence, I still have to believe in myself. So.
Nice. Awesome. Listen, you was instilling gems, so I really hope that you never lose that, because you have no idea how much, forget about everybody else, how much I probably needed. How much, like, that
For sure. Life throw you rocks.
Yeah.
Life throw you lemons, but you just gotta turn that stuff into some type of purpose. Yeah. And that's kind of like what my book talk about, is just understanding that even through the pain of life, you still have to understand what your purpose is. My son served his purpose on earth. He left a legacy behind. And so at the end of the day, I have a new purpose now. I have to be able to help somebody else, through their struggles and through their pains.
For sure. So this is a beautiful segue into the book. Why write a book? Like, where was you at where you was like, this is what I'm gonna do? I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Like,
so I've been a strong advocate, not only for my son, but for all the mothers and fathers who have lost their children to gun violence, in the area. And so me having the platform that I have, to be able to help other people and have their stories be told. I was told I was at a congressional meeting, probably like in 2000. What's this, 2024? I was at a congressional meeting in 22. Mm-hmm. I want to say probably like the beginning of 23. And I ran into this lady who her name is Teresa Smallwood. I'll never forget her. She's an amazing director and producer. She works for BET. And so I was talking to Teresa one day, and when I was at the congressional meeting, and I let her know that I want my son to be in a movie, right? So me just jumping out there, not thinking that she would take me serious. Mm-hmm. She was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna hit my secretary right now, and I'm gonna set up a meeting with us." Wow. This lady literally, she heard of my son's story. She's from this area in Prince George's County, but I didn't think she was gonna take it that serious. Yeah. We had a meeting the week after the congressional meeting. Wow. And in that meeting, she said, "What is your goal?" And I said, "I want my son's name to be told to the world." And even though I've had big interviews, right? I've been on Inside Edition. I've been on a lot of big platforms, right? But at the end of the day, it's like my son deserves like his story to really be told to the world, like not just in an interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really want people to understand what perseverance looks like. Yeah. And I feel like me and my son's story can definitely not only help my local people get through their pain and find purpose, but it can help other people across the world, across the nation, across, just everywhere. Like, I've met people from different countries already, like Germany and all that, right? So I'm just like, if my message could reach somebody in Germany, it should be able to reach somebody in Africa.
Hello.
And so that's what my purpose really started with the book. Mm-hmm. She said, "Well, you need to write a book first." Mm-hmm. She said, "Because I want you to be in detail. Like, I want everything in detail about your life from beginning to end." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Okay, cool." And I didn't think that I would be where I'm at a year later, and having a book and being an author. But it's here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was a long, lengthy process, but I'm proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody else is proud of me, but it really was a hard task. Mm-hmm. It wasn't easy at all. Times you want to give up because of the financial part, right? Writing a book is not cheap. I tell people that, like, writing a book is not cheap. Writing a book and and publishing a book is not a cheap process.
Yeah.
But God saw fit in my purpose, and He made ways that I didn't think He would make. Right. And that again takes us back to that I believe. You know what I'm saying? When you just put a situation in God's hands, everything is just impossible. Like nothing could stop the purpose that God got for you. Right. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta first believe in yourself, and when you believe in yourself, then you put that belief in God. All He asks for is a mustard seed. You know what I'm saying? So when we put that faith in Him and just let Him lead the way, I mean, I'm talking about situations that I've encountered in the last year. I never thought I'd see myself in these situations, but God has been amazing. And so I just tell people all the time, I just gotta keep trusting Him because He hasn't failed me yet. So yeah.
Love that. So I want to really quickly talk about your desire to turn pain into purpose. I'm interested to see or to understand where did that level of motivation come from, because I have looked into a lot of your things, and growing up in an environment where gun violence is at a high, and it's normalized, which is very unfortunate. Yeah. So growing up in that, what made you turn your pain into purpose and not turn your pain into anger or frustration out of the environment?
So I can honestly say turning pain into purpose started, my son passed on August 24th. It started August 25th. My first press conference was on the 25th at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And every news station outside of my mother's house recording what I had to say to the killers of my son. Wow. And the first thing that I said, one reporter asked me, he said, "What would you want to tell your son's killer in this present moment?" And I said, "I forgive you." And most people don't understand that, but that was just the God in me.
Just like that. I'm like, I
you know what I'm saying? That's something I didn't even know I said until I went and seen myself on the news, right? But that was the God speaking through me, and allowing me to know that He got me, and He's had me ever since. And when I forgave the killers of my son in that present moment, everything else has worked out for me. Wow. And so I think people first have to understand what forgiveness is and what forgiveness looks like. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for yourself. And so when we understand the power of forgiveness and where it really can take you, right? That's when the healing starts, right? Yeah. That's when the fight starts. And like I said, my son was an amazing child. And at the end of the day, his legacy deserves to be ringing bells throughout this world. Yeah. And I'm going to make it happen as long as I'm breathing. And so that's where that pain, turning that pain into purpose really started, was the day after my son passed. And so it's been a journey ever since. And don't get me wrong, I've had some dark days. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I still have them, right? But with therapy, right? And I know I know people laughing at me right now. I gotta get back into therapy right now. I'm gonna be so honest and transparent. Life been lifing. But in the beginning, therapy was everything for me. And just understanding that God got me. I mean, I'm talking about me and God had a lot of battles of mixed feelings, right? And I keep it so honest and transparent with people. I talk to God like He my homie. And so I questioned God. I was angry with God, right? But I also praise God in the midst of it all, right? And so me praising God in the midst of it all, it helped me hear Him better. He knew that I was angry. He knew how much PJ meant to me. If don't nobody know, God knew, right? Yeah. So me just putting my faith in God and Him giving me the visions and everything, once I started really trusting His purpose for me, I had to really understand it, because for 8 years, my purpose wasn't for me. It was for my son. It was me being a mother. It was me being a spouse. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I knew, was providing and making sure that things were done for my family, right? And so what I had to do is relearn who Tiffani was and what Tiffani's new purpose is going to be now, because my son is no longer here. So I can't sit in that dark space. I can't sit in that dark room all the time and just want to give up on life. Because I tell people all the time, I figured out what my favorite quote is and what helps me remind myself to keep pushing. My son is in heaven, right? I'm trying to get there. So what helps me turn my pain into purpose is understanding that I live to see my son again.
Yeah.
So that's what I always said all the time. I live to see my son again. And I push that not only with myself, but I push that with my other mothers. Our kids are already in a better place. We try and get there. So what do we got to do on earth to complete the journey and purpose that God has for us?
Yeah. I love that. So I also, I want to know, incongruent to that question, the quote, check on your strong friends. How does that resonate with you? And what are your thoughts on the importance of community?
Checking on your strong friends is major. And I know if any of my friends looking right now, I have been so busy lately. I feel like I have not checked on all of my friends, but at the end of the day, they know not to charge it to my, heart. They charge it to my mind. I definitely been going through a lot. I actually had court this morning, so I'm a little mentally drained. But at the end of the day, they know that the love is always there.
Yeah.
I'm always here when they call me and need me, right? But at the end of the day, life just been lifing lately. So checking on your strong friends is just, sometimes maybe even just sending, I love you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people, you might not have that time to have those 1 hour conversations with your friends. But we don't got to talk every day, right? But if they know who you are as a genuine person, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to charge it to your heart. They're going to charge it to your mind and your life. Life been lifing, right?
For sure.
But checking on your strong friends, just, to all my friends, I love y'all.
Nah, I
I love
give them a
y'all.
moment to tell them
For
no.
sure, man. And, even through this situation, I understand that people are going through their own battles too. So I don't always look at it like my friends got to just check on me because I lost Peyton.
Yeah.
I know that sometimes they've been going through things as well. Might have lost a parent, might have lost a grandmother or whatever. So I try my best to show up. You know what I'm saying? But if I slip a little bit, like I tell my friends, do not charge it to my heart. It's just me. Life just been lifing, So, and what was the second question again?
Of course. So, what are your thoughts on community? Do you feel like having a community is important, impactful?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I feel like we have to work together to get this to get this crisis handled.
Yeah.
I was just at the White House today with about, I want to say maybe like 60 mothers across the nation. Earlier today, and having that meeting and understanding what people are doing in their communities as mothers who've lost their children to gun violence, from adults to young children, and just seeing all of that pain in one room, and all of us feeling like we're in a safe space where we can express how we feel or express what we need and desire. I can honestly say the White House office right now is working on a lot of things to help for us as the parents to be the face of the change in the communities across the nation. They've passed a lot of new grants, and they have a couple new laws coming out for us to just be the face of it. Because, like they said, how can somebody that's never been impacted by gun violence be the change for a community that they've never been affected by? So they want us to be the face of the change, because we're the ones that are really out here, the ones fighting to get these laws changed, because we never want another mother to join this sorority. We never want this a father to join this fraternity. Because again, a child is supposed to bury a parent. A parent shouldn't be burying a child. So we're trying to change that narrative in our community. And that's, when I say community is important, it really is important. But we first got to understand what our purpose is first. And once we understand what our purpose is first, and get the mental health needs that we need in this community, bring all of that together, I kind of think we'll have the green light on lowering the numbers of gun violence in the community. But we got to first handle ourselves, and that's major for me. Just people understanding that childhood trauma don't gotta take over you as an adult, because a lot of the issues with gun violence really is just trauma, that unhandled trauma, right? So once we get that handled, that kind of like will help, with some of the situations, and people just seeing a different narrative in life. So yeah, that's pretty much, our community is important. It's needed. It's definitely needed.
Just off of that, you saying, childhood trauma, which I agree. Listen, that is my scope right here. But I seen a interview that you had with the youth of the community. How important is it for you to communicate with the youth in order
Man, it's
to
major.
get
For
into
me,
it?
to communicate with the youth, that's major. I'm not gonna lie. I think I might have said it earlier today or yesterday. Sometimes I kind of like talking to the youth more than talking to adult,
Okay.
right? And I don't say that to offend no adult, like I don't want to talk to you or nothing like that. But I just feel like the issue lies with the adults,
Yeah.
right? A lot of this gun violence with our youth is starting at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's the issues at home, the unhandled issues at home. It's the parents that aren't handling their trauma, who are now having kids, and now you've created and brought kids into a traumatic situation,
Yeah.
and now they're forced to live in these traumatic narratives. You
Yeah.
feel me? Like everything that was created for us to feel, we're allowing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of my major things with PJ is I didn't want him to encounter none of the stuff that I encountered as a young child.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I had an amazing childhood. My mother was amazing. I give all kudos to my mom. But at the end of the day, it's not just with my mom, it's the community that I might have grew
Yeah.
up in that I've encountered trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lost friends to gun violence, right?
Yeah.
Lost kids to suicide, growing
Yeah.
up in high school and stuff like that, right? Dealing with my sexuality at an early age, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, even like a big one, church trauma. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to speak on it, but we want to speak on that too.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I just feel like, unhandled trauma has now affected our children, and not only has it affected our children, the pandemic has affected our children. And so just to hear my young people say that their socialization skills are different and they actually living through social media to figure out who they are as an individual is crazy to me.
Yeah.
We had social media growing up, right? MySpace and all that, but it was really just to book people,
Yeah.
like no funnies. It was just really like for us to meet
That's it.
people, but now it's like they're using social media as a different platform to be somebody that they aren't. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really like get a hold on our young people, and just to even hear a young person tell me that their mother or father doesn't even ask them how their day is or tell them that they love them.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So as an adult, I feel like we are failing our young people, and we're not meeting them where they need to be met at, right?
Yeah.
We're not meeting them in their present moments, and I feel like we as adults have to do better. You know what I'm saying? So I always talk to my young people, try to encourage them. You know what I'm saying, and show them, what perseverance looks like, because they going through stuff too. It's not just adults. You know what I'm saying? Adults really think that they're the only ones dealing with issues. Like these young people really are dealing with issues.
Yeah.
They're dealing with bullies. They're dealing with people, not knowing what real love looks like, healthy love. You know what I'm saying? These kids are dealing with domestic violence and these little so-called relationships that they have, right?
Yeah.
So we dealing with young people, suicidal thoughts and everything. So we really got to meet them where they are. But we can't meet them where they are if we don't fix our own traumas, right?
For sure. For sure. So how do you feel like your book has contributed to your healing journey?
My book helped me a lot through the healing journey, because it just showed me, like, it helped me look back at really like where I came from. You know what I'm saying? My book really just like, Tiffani, you really conquered something. You know what I'm saying? Because people not only counted me out, the public knew how much PJ meant to me because of my first interview. I was very emotional. They caught me in a very vulnerable moment. And to see myself and to see myself from August 24th and where I am now, I can honestly say, but God. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I always say if I lose my son, I'm going with him. But losing my baby has really shown me that he had his purpose, and I now have to live in my purpose. So yeah.
I love that.
My book really helped me on a lot. It really just showed me the blueprint of what I've laid for a lot of people, what I've conquered, and showing people what overcoming a situation really looks like.
For sure. So how do you navigate through your own self-care? Now that we're going into or diving into who Tiffani is, what does Tiffani do for herself?
Man.
Take
Oh
your time.
man, I mean I ain't gonna lie, like because I don't know, my push is, my drive is just on auto like pilot mode right now. I'm just floating, um, and I'm gonna be so transparent in this moment. Like lately, I have been slipping on my self care, because life has been lifing,
Yeah.
right? And but I'm never gonna let life overcome my purpose. So I stay busy a lot with doing community work and doing whatever. I get phone calls every week like, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I think last week I did 3 filmings last week. Like I'm beyond tired. And then today I had court. And so I try to take a little nap before this, right? But you know, still kind of tired and drained. And then going to the White House, being at the White House all evening from noon until. So it's hard to really say what self care looks like for me. I know that for the rest of this week, I do have to take a mental break.
Yes.
And that's major. Taking those days without any meetings, taking those days without somebody calling my phone, taking those days to really like focus just on enjoying my present moment. If I want to sleep all day, that's what it looks like for me. Because it just seemed like I've had something to do literally every day. So I know it's time for me to eventually now take a couple self days for real, and just be in tune with the silence of just sleeping and relaxing, maybe just sitting in the tub, um, maybe hitting a spa, right?
Yeah.
And not only because you guys can't see it, but I've been in the boot since damn near January. So I had surgery in January on my foot, so I kind of was down for a little minute. So just me wanting to hurry up and get a pedicure, right? I mean, that's what self-care kind of looks like right now. So I have probably like 2 more weeks. I'll be in a boot. So just taking that moment for myself, man, and not feeling obligated to tell people I'm not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I always feel like I gotta say yes, and just learning how to sometimes just take that time for myself before I break down. And that's really kind of like what self-care is going to look like for me in the next couple of days.
I'm here for. I'm so happy you mentioned that boo, because I was like, what happened to your foot? Like, I'm like, oh, she was all over the place with
I
this
had
boot
foot surgery.
foot.
I had foot surgery. I'm good though. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
I was like, if it's like, if you don't add another thing, sit down. So I'm so happy that you mentioned it, because I was like, oh my goodness. Anyway. Definitely resting. Resting is important. Giving yourself the opportunity to say no. I'm so happy that you said yes to me. But
oh no, for sure.
Giving yourself the opportunity to say no is definitely important, in creating that boundary, because it's only when you are living through this journey to continue to tell your story. So we have to make sure that you're prioritizing yourself in order to keep going. So one of the things that I'm like been so interested in, this is like super, maybe not left field, but it is. So you have had a honey garlic lemon pepper sauce.
Oh yeah.
What happened to it?
Okay, so me and my son, it was me, my son, and my little cousins. So every weekend, I kind of like had all the kids in my house all the time, right? So of course, when you got kids, you try to figure out something quick to cook. Fried some chicken one day, and I just started mixing all these ingredients and just try to make a sweet sauce. And that's just me. That's what I do. I like to mix sauces together, seasonings together, and just come up with boom. And so that kind of was like one of the videos when my son passed that went viral. My son was dancing with the 2 sauces in his hand, and we named it Gramps because that was what we called our grandmother, which was Peyton's great grandmother. And they were both born on the same day. So it was major to Peyton because he was very connected with my grandmother. My grandmother passed when Peyton was, I want to say, he was 4. And my grandmother was 92 at that moment. And so she was the matriarch of my family, and we named it after her because we always say Gramps instead of Grandma. So I mixed all those sauces together, and I was like, my little cousins, they were telling me in the kids, man, this young busting. Like, this our favorite word, busting, right? So they was like, man, you need to put this joint in a jar. And my other cousins came and they had some, you know, and everybody just kept slicing me up. So they made me feel real good. And lo and behold, I ran with it. And I sold, I think, like 150 jars when I first promoted it to my community. I sold like 150 jars. And then lo and behold, I want to say I took a break after a while because schedule, you know, with PJ's football life, which is crazy that summer. I kind of took a break from it, and lo and behold, my son passed. But he recorded we recorded the video of him on my page dancing with the sauces. And everybody keeps asking me to bring it back. It's kind of like a sentimental thing for me because I lost my kid, and I knew how much the sauce meant to him. And I don't know, maybe in the future, if God puts that in front of me, I'll definitely bring it back. But lately, I'm gonna be so honest, I don't even cook for real no more. So because my son, he was like my number one fan of my food, so I don't even really cook that much no more. It's like I lost the joy in cooking. But you know, in honor of PJ and my grandmother, I probably would bring it back. But I don't know, I might have to change the name in honor of my son. But if not, it'll definitely be something compared to both of them. Because they both were Valentine babies. So I might rebrand it and see where God takes me later on in the future.
Okay, I'm here for it. I was just like, I want some sauce. Like,
oh, no, it's definitely busting. I ain't gonna say a lot to you. It's good.
I'm gonna have to take your word for it because we don't know where it is. Earlier on, you said you were interested in having more children. Do you feel like the passing of your son motivates you to embark on that journey again, or hinders you?
So my son wanted another sibling. Before he passed, he kept saying, "Mom, I want a little sister," and I feel like that's what God is going to place in my life because He know for sure I don't want no daughters. But I feel like, you know, with my son being up there with the big man upstairs, man, it's gonna happen. I want to be able to still give my son that, you know, even though he's not here in the physical, he will live through my child. And I was the lesbian that was like, I wanted a lot of kids. So I ain't gonna say a lot, you know. I had Peyton, and I probably, like, when I was younger, probably was the one that said I wanted to, like, 6 kids, right? Because I enjoy family. I enjoy big family, right? My mother has 4 children. My father had 3, but at the end of the day, by the time I was growing up, I felt like I was the only child because my siblings were all grown. So growing up, I felt lonely. And so I never wanted that for PJ. I wanted him to have siblings. I wanted him to have somebody to grow up with, someone to depend on when I'm not here. And so I definitely want more children. And it's in the process. I just been so hectically busy with community work. Having a kid, you definitely have to sit down for a little bit and take some time to heal your body, be mentally and spiritually in tune with yourself. So it's definitely in the works, though.
Okay, we'll be watching. We'll be waiting. We're almost done. Just a few more. So another thing I wanted to ask you is, being as though your son was, a huge part, if not all of your heart, how do you feel like, or do you feel like the loss of him affects you being emotionally present?
At times, At times, I can honestly say, you're gonna have those days where you lose hope. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have those days where you like, why am I still here? Like, you know what I'm saying? I always try to be so transparent with my emotions so that I can be able to help somebody else through those times, especially my mom's. You have those days where you just like, I don't know what I'm living for, you know. And in those moments, I take myself back to that quote: "I live to see my son again," and it's so powerful to help you get out of those dark spaces. I just was with a mother 2 weeks ago who had to bury her 11-year-old daughter, and when she was having those moments of giving up at the funeral, I don't want to be here. What's my purpose? Why am I here? Like, because all I did was live for my child. I said, what are we doing? We living to see our kids again. So we got to persevere. We got to push through. even though we don't want to.
Yeah.
Kids serve their purpose. They left their legacy. We got to be the voice of their legacy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a deep quote for us on this other side, to really understand and push through those dark times and those dark moments. But definitely understanding that our children are watching us, and we can't tell them to not give up on things as parents. And even though they're not physically here with us anymore, they're still spiritually with us. Yeah. So we got to be able to keep our promise to them that they kept to us while they were living. So if we made them push through those hard times, we got to be able to, reverse the table and push through on our hard times, right? Sure. We got to still set that example and make them proud. Sure. So that's pretty much, how I get through those times.
Amen. So here's a loaded question. Who is Tiffani Evans?
Oh, man. Tiffani Evans. Tiffani
Take your time.
Is her,
Take
period. Tiffani Evans is her, period. I've been through a lot. I've conquered a lot. And Tiffani Evans is just the woman that still sees the light even in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Tiffani Evans is her. I can't really put my finger on it because I wear a lot of hats. Yeah. And what I can say to describe myself, it would just be perseverance. It was a plenty of times, even in my grief, where I wanted to give up, but I persevered. Yeah. It was a plenty of times where people turned their back on me or failed me, but I persevered. And so I would say perseverance. I'm her. I'm the person that knows how to persevere through the hard times and still find light.
So. Amen. You better say that. All right. So, what is next for Tiffani Evans?
Oh man, what is next for Tiffani Evans? What's this? March. The rest of my March is kind of quiet.
Very good. Actually,
I think last week kind of ran it up for March. I was filming like 3 days, like straight last week. Like I was beyond tired. So last week kind of wore me out. I did a commercial and 2 documentary filming, so I was wore out last week. That kind of worked out the whole March. But in April, I'm working and teaming up with collabing with some guys with the youth summit in April, April 21st. So look out for that. I believe. Oh man, I can't get to my calendar because I'm on my phone. But I definitely want to list everything.
It's okay.
I'm a spokesperson for Johnson Middle School in Southeast. One of the most the one of the highest poverty schools, middle schools in DC. I'll be their commencement speaker for their graduation. They'll be transferring to high school. I also will be the motivational speaker for the OAG. The OAG office in July for the youth summit. Definitely got some book signings that I want to, put on the books. So if people just follow me and keep up with my calendar on my website, longlivepj.com, you'll definitely be able to link up with any of my events that I'll be at. So.
For sure. All right, last one. What is one thing you want to leave, or you can leave to the youth of the community?
What I would say to the youth of the community, believe in yourself, even when your mama and daddy don't. I feel like a lot of times they don't know what believing means, but it's just knowing that whatever, you see fit for yourself, you fight for it, you push through, and you conquer it. It's not going to be an easy road, but you can do it. Yeah. You just believe in yourself. And if you want to use the affirmation of PJ, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. Without God, I'm nothing. But with God, I'm everything. And just say long live PJ, because he'll definitely help you push through it. He was a conqueror, and so you could be one too. So that's what I believe in.
Amen. Oh my goodness. in light of you and Women's History Month, I want all that is watching to give this woman her flowers while she is still here. I want to say thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and telling a bit of your story. I know we didn't go too deep into it, but however, anyone who wants to see more of her story, please check out the website. Please check out her page. Please follow her. It is all there. I didn't want to necessarily give you the same thing that you've been doing all for the rest of the whole month, seemingly.
Sure.
So I want to again just say thank you. You are amazing. You are inspiring. You are worthy. You are worth it. You are awesome. You are just super motivational. And I'm grateful that you are here. I'm grateful that you are present, that you're verbal enough to live on and speak on for your child and for yourself. Um, Thank you all that is watching, that has watched, who will watch. This is In Session, and being an acronym for the word intentional, where we have conversations with the amazing Tiffani Evans, like we just had today. Thank you again for
Thank
joining.
you. I appreciate you for having me.
Of
Like I
course,
tell people all the time, like when people ask me to do interviews, I do them all because you never know where it's going to take you. So
for
I
sure.
appreciate you for having me, and I wish you the best on your journey.
Thank you.
You know, and I wish you nothing but, you know, prosperity. And
Thank you.
keep
Thank you. I
fighting and keep pushing through even on them hard days. You keep pushing through as well. So I'm gonna give you your flowers as well. And
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I receive it, you know.
yeah, nah, for
Thank you
sure, man.
so much.
I
Again,
appreciate you,
make
nah,
sure
for
you
sure. And
guys
I appreciate
follow.
everybody that watched too, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all. And long live PJ to the death.
Long live PJ. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Have a
You
great
too.
night and get some rest.
I am. Go back right now.
Good. Later.
Appreciate you.
Of course.
Love y'all. Even through the pain of life,